What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Now in today's video we are going to be doing the second part to the Bondo series, which is actually laying down the Bondo itself. Now I did complete this, and yeah, I know the black looks a little more black than the rest of the car, but it's gonna help once I get this thing cleaned and all that. But I didn't want to do it on such a big patch because that'd take long, whereas this right here it won't take us very long at all. I mean, obviously I gotta sand this down real quick and clean it up a little bit, but we're gonna be doing this corner piece here because I don't think I'll have to do too much. I should just be able to kind of, I mean, there's a little crack right here. I might have to sand down just a little bit and clean up this edge right here so that way it can seat properly, because there's a little bit right there. It's at like an angle. But other than that, well, there's this crack right here. I'll have to deal with that. But this piece is going to be a lot easier to do a video on than that piece, because that took a lot of drying, a lot of sanding, back and forth, back and forth. Now, before we do get into it, I have a few announcements. So, first of all, we have our entire suspension setup, finally. Right here is our SR Performance upper and lower control arms in red, of course. We have our Eibach drag launch springs, which are blue. I don't know why I'm saying the colors. We have our Detroit axle stuff, which you guys have seen before. We've had this for a while. And now we have our shocks. For the rear shocks, I'm doing Koni, like STR or SRTT. So I don't know. I don't remember exactly what it is, but these are Koni rear shocks. And then for the front, I know I've said it before in a video, but I'm actually showing you guys that. We're doing Lakewood. There we go. Lakewood 7030 street strip struts. I was going to go with the 9010 drag shocks, but then I decided I wanted to keep like good drivability on this car. Before I show you this second thing, obviously this thing still runs, still drives. It's intact, don't worry. But right here is another 462 valve. This came out of a Lincoln Town Car, or Continental Town Car? I don't know. But this motor only has 100,000 miles on it, and as you can see in the heads, it's pretty clean. The other side's a little bit worse, but for the most part, this engine is clean. I mean, and the timing is tight on this thing. There's not a bit of give or anything. A good friend of mine pulled this out of a car that a lady had wrecked, and he didn't need the motor, and so he asked me if I wanted it, and I said sure. Now this does have the iron block, so I'm not going to really. Sorry, can't speak today. The reason that I bought this motor, bought it, is for these heads. Because even though this has the iron block, these are the PI heads. You can tell by the shape of the intake valves. On the non-PI, it's more of a circle with a little like hump thing, whereas on the PI heads, it's more of a blocky square. And what I plan to do with these heads is, I mean, obviously I'm taking this motor apart so that way I can learn how to disassemble a 4.6, because I have never taken apart one of these motors before. So not only will this be a good learning experience for, if I ever need to do timing on the car, which eventually I will, but it's not like a main concern or nothing. It's just something that's I know is going to happen eventually, especially with beating on the motor and racing it and all that. It's bound to happen. I'm going to have to take the timing cover off at some point. And so this is a learning experience, but also, since these heads are in very good shape, I mean, the cams, they're not scored. As far as I know, the bearings are good. I'm not going to take that apart yet. But my plan with this is to take these heads off and get them machined, get them ported, properly ported, intake and exhaust side, get them polished, and clean all this up. And then my goal is to build these heads. Beehive springs, comp cam spring retainers, comp cam adjustable cam gears if I need them. I want to throw a pretty good size cam in here, new cam bearings, Ford Performance rocker roller kit. I want to build these heads. So for them, whatever reason, whether I have to pull the motor or if something happens and I need to take the heads off, boom, I have built heads ready to go. And with only 100,000 miles, I doubt these things, have really lost much structural rigidity or anything. I guarantee cleaned up that these things will be in mint condition. So That's my plan for this. Now, I know I said I probably wasn't going to cam this thing, but with the fact that I literally have a spare set of heads that I could do whatever I want with, PI heads, mind you, I'm going to slap a fat cam in this thing and just have it ready for the moment. The moment I need to take those heads off for some reason, whether I blow a head gasket, whatever. It's at the ready, and then we could definitely make some serious power out of this thing. All right, that's better. We got that all cleaned up. Area looks good. I had to sand down here just a little bit, just so that way I could get that crack, because I was separating enough to where it would just make it worse, and it'd just start all coming down here. So now that we have a bare metal surface, what you want to do is take a rough grit sandpaper, like low grit sandpaper, 36 grit, 32 grit, whatever you can get your hands on. Right here is 36 grit, I believe. I don't know. I don't remember what it said on the package. But what you want to do is Bondo sticks, just like a lot of adhesives, it sticks better on a rough surface. And right now this is all nice and smooth because I hit it with a wire brush. But now we're going to take our rough sandpaper and you want to sand your whole area. Get it rough. Down here is already a little rough just from body damage itself. I'm going to go in and clean up some of these spots that I missed with the wire wheel on my drill and get this surface rough, and then after that we can slap down some Bondo. As I was sanding it down, I noticed some of the pre-existing Bondo started to peel. And so now we got to do a bigger section. See that? Like surface rust. That's from a bad, I mean, look at this. I'm going to turn the light here. That's just pure Bondo. Like I was flaking off, like that's a big chip. This one right here. This is what a bad Bondo job can seriously do to a car. I mean, like that's all. I mean, when I sanded this down first, it was all like this. It was all like this. So I mean, who knows what's underneath this Bondo? I genuinely couldn't tell you. I mean, when you look in from underneath and you like shine a light up, it's obviously not rusting through. This is surface rust. It's not rough. It's not flaking off. I guarantee if I take the sandpaper and just go like that, it'll go down to pure metal. Obviously that takes too much time. I'm just going to use my drill. But like this is what a bad Bondo job can do. So, you know, make sure just do it right. Like I'm going to probably also chip off this because there's a crack right here I just noticed. You know, just do it right. It pays off in the long run. Now that our surface is prepped, it's sanded down. We hit it with the rough 30 grit sandpaper. Now we can move on to actually making our Bondo mixture. Now, I've, as you can see, already used a lot of this. Hopefully we'll have enough. But your kit, when you go get a body repair Bondo kit, it will come with a tin. It will come with your cream hardener. It will come with this little meshing, and then the lid where the cream and this will be underneath. Now we don't need this, so we can just throw that out of the way. Also, what you're gonna need is a Bondo spreader. It doesn't have to be the actual Bondo one, but you have to, there's different size spreaders. I'm using the smallest one. You need it so that way you can mix up your Bondo mixture. So get yourself a piece of cardboard, or if you have an actual spreader, that works too. But you wanna get yourself some cardboard, and then let's pop open our Bondo here. And from here, you're gonna mix it up a little bit. Just make sure everything's good. It's not all hard or nothing. It's very thick consistency, so you might have to put a little elbow grease into it, especially if you have a fresh can. You just wanna kinda lay it out best you can and try to keep it in an organized pile. Don't just like spread it everywhere. Try to make it one big mountain if you can. But get your scoops in. We'll start with 2. This should honestly be plenty, I hope. Because if not, then I'm gonna have to run to the store to get more. Now that we have our Bondo laid out, take your cream hardener. First you wanna kinda move it around with your fingers a little bit, make sure it's all broken up, it's all loose. This kit, the small one, will come with a smaller container. I had to buy more because I ran out. And you're gonna take your cream hardener and you wanna lay a strip from one side to the other. I'll do like this side, but you just take it and squeeze and just run a thin strip along the entire patch, or blob, or whatever you want to call it. And now from here, you got to work quick. Once you mix it, I should say. So then take it and just scoop towards the center and flip. scoop towards the center, and flip. And you want to repeat this process until it's about the color of this scraper. And kind of like chop it up a little bit and mix it. Basically just repeat back and forth till it's like a weird reddish peach kind of color. If it's a dark red, you put way too much hardener in it. But obviously if it's gray, you didn't put enough. Now as you can see, it's about the color of our scraper. But like I said, we have to work fast. So you take a decent sized blob, lay it on there, just start spreading. Take another blob, start spreading. Kind of spread it out. Obviously it's not going to be perfect on your first try, unless you're, you know, a magician or something. Take it and just spread it all in. If you get it on the, you know, outside of the paint, it doesn't matter. It's better to fill it over and actually kind of get it on your paint in your existing area, so that way it'll be flush. Well, more flush, I should say. And obviously you're going to hit this with more than one coat. It's not a one coat done kind of deal. You're definitely going to hit this with more. Better to put it on thick and do more sanding than have to repeat this process over and over and over again. And I always do that and kind of get the excess Bondo off. Like I said, I'm going very sloppy with this. I'm just laying it on because I can easily just sand all this down. I'm getting along my surfaces. I'm gonna pack a little more in here. And I'm definitely gonna have to go over this because I know there's gonna be holes in areas that I missed and whatnot. There you have it. It's far from perfect and we are just getting started with it. But see how now it's rubbery, doesn't really want to cut, doesn't want to fold easily. We're gonna have to hit up right here, here. Might have to do a little bit here and along here. I didn't put too much attention to detail on the corner right here and on this seam. And we're gonna probably have to touch up a little here just because the Bondo's thicker and we want it to be as flush with the body as possible. So now is the process, yeah, because I can't, well, don't hit yourself in the eye with Bondo, but now I'm just gonna have to sit here. We're gonna let this dry. Once this dries, I can just crack it and break it off. But we're gonna let this sit, we're gonna let it dry, and then we can start sanding our first layer. It is finally hardened, it's dried. You obviously don't have to wait this long, but last clip it was daytime, now it's nighttime. You guys obviously don't have to wait that long. This should take roughly 15 to 20 minutes to cure. But as you notice, it's all rough. We got, you know, little droopy edges and stuff. And at this stage, you're going to, because in order to put on the second coat and really fill it in and make sure it's even with the rest of your body lines, or in my instance, the rest of the Bondo, I'm going to have to sand this down smooth so I can get a rough idea of where I'm going to have to put my second coating. So for this, I recommend using a sanding block or like a 3M sandpaper block that you can attach the sandpaper to, and you're going to want to use 80 grit. That's the only grit I've heard people use for sanding down Bondo, and personally I used it to sand down this and it works really, really good. You don't have to put too much like elbow grease, too much like oomph into it to try to get it to sand. This Bondo sands incredibly easy. So far this is what the sanding looks like. I'm not done yet. I still have to touch up a little bit on the edges and try to get just a little more flush, like right here, like along the bottom. But other than that, it's going good. And while sanding, I made a friend. Yeah, he's just kind of chilling on my arm, and I don't want to like disrupt him, but at the same time, he's kind of like stopping me from making a video. But yeah, so Bondo sanding's going good. Next clip here, we're going to probably put on the second coat and like fill in like some of these big holes and big splotchy areas. Like obviously over here, I, as you can see, didn't care too much. I'm not looking for this to be perfect by any means. I know it's not going to be. In order to do this right, honestly, because of how messed up this fender is, it would be cutting this one out and welding a new one in. And I just don't have the resources or the know-how to do it. So this is going to be the next best thing. And like I said, I'm not looking for this to be perfect. I just wanted to, one, protect the sheet metal so that way it doesn't rust. And two, just look better than what it was. Because trust me, I think that, even with it being splotchy, is going to look better than that. So, you know, you win some, you lose some. I'm not too picky on it. And I got to find a spot here for our friend. because yeah, he's just kind of chilling. And like, I have to hold my arm weird, otherwise I'll smush him. So yeah, welcome to the channel, dude. Okay, we have sanded down all along the edges here, just about as good as it's really gonna get. Your sandpaper is gonna mess up some pre-existing paint if you're doing it how I'm doing it, but that's fine. Though we will touch that up. I mean, man, this thing is so dirty. It's gonna need a bath. I think before I do that side, I'm gonna put it together and go wash this thing. I mean, this is just filthy, and like you rub it and it's just mixing. It's not even wiping off. This stuff's really, really messy. But sorry, I'm getting off topic now. So with our Bondo being sanded down on our painted areas, we're gonna have to go over with a light second coat, fill in holes like right here, right here, right here. The body line's following pretty good, as you can see right here, and then fit it in a little bit right there. Maybe run this a little bit along the seam here and a little bit underneath. But other than that, it's actually turning out pretty good. And once again, the process for mixing Bondo is the same as before. You take your Bondo, put it on a piece of cardboard or a legitimate Bondo spreader, and then you take your hardening cream, run a strip or a bead from one side to the other, and then use your scraper to mix it. Oh yeah, this stuff will stick to your scraper, and you have to kind of like, sort of satisfying, like cracking it off, and you're gonna have to do this every time unless you magically get it all off, but it's satisfying. Our second layer has been laid. This one's a lot smoother. I mean, it still has the ripples in it, but we obviously sand those out. But this is a lot smoother, and we filled in all the pits and bumps that were from the first layer. The process from this point just repeats. You lay down a layer, you sand it, you lay down a layer. You don't have to do the whole thing. I ended up just kind of evenly spreading it all around. I accidentally used a little too much, so I figured, you know what, I might as well get it all while, you know, I can, before it dries up and then it's completely useless. But obviously, we didn't have to fill in the whole area. We just had to fill in spots like down here and here. But pretty much now, we gotta wait for this to dry, and then we're gonna sand it down again. I'm probably gonna end up scratching a little more paint. Like I said, I'll take care of all that, and I'll just hit it with a little bit of touch-up paint when we are actually painting this. And here we have it. This is our second coat that we let dry, and then we sanded down. And you can already see that that is way, way smoother, and a lot better too. I'm probably gonna hit this one more time, maybe. I wanna touch up on areas right here, and maybe put just a little bit right here. But other than that, this is, for the most part, pretty smooth. This actually is turning out a lot better than that. But, you know, like I said, guys, I'm not looking for perfect. I'm just looking for better than what it was. That is going to wrap it up for tonight's video. And that's actually going to end our mini-series on how to do Bondo. I am going to put a third layer on this, and all I'm going to do is touch up right here in the corner and like right in here. And maybe a little bit right here just to more define this body line. But other than that, I'm not going to mess with it anymore because it's actually turned out pretty good and a lot better than that. But, you know, it's a smaller space, so there's, you know, less room for error. And like I said, guys, once I paint this, I'm cleaning this car, like cleaning it good. Because, I mean, this is just, oh, man. It's bad. So I'm going to definitely clean this car. And then I'm slapping the rear end back together because we have some go fast stuff to do. We have to install this entire suspension setup, and my wheel and tire setup should be in soon, along with a new AC compressor because mine's going out, and a two-step module so I can get consistent launches every time. Now, I haven't ordered the two-step or the air conditioning yet, but the wheels and tires I literally just ordered today. When they'll be in, I'm not sure. I know the wheels that I chose were out of stock. And then I gotta get some small stuff like more clips for the side scoops. I might as well get 2 of them for the other side because I guarantee they're gonna break too. So I might as well better be safe than sorry. And then once I get this car somewhat operational, in between doing the suspension, wheel, tire, two-step, all that, I'm also going to be tearing apart this engine and doing a series on building this head. Like something involving, like, I don't know, how to make, you know, max power out of PI heads, or I'll title it something like that. But pretty much we're going to be porting, polishing, machining, cleaning and totally building these heads. I might even, if I can find custom valve covers to spice it up, I might even do that too. Now, just because I'm building these heads doesn't mean I'm going to put them in immediately. I'm going to wait for the opportunity when this motor has to go out to replace them. And then other than this, guys, once this is done, there's not much left to do to this car. I mean, long tube headers I would love to do, and I'm probably going to end up doing that eventually. And then maybe some like new motor mounts, few little things. I have an idea in mind for my whole intake setup, completely redoing it after I just dumped however much money into the intake setup. I'm thinking on completely redoing it with something really unique and really cool. And then obviously, guys, yes, I know I get comments almost weekly on the EGR delete. I promise, guys, this is gonna come soon. Just please bear with me, give me some time. It might be a few videos before that comes out, because we're literally custom fabricating butt connectors. Because on the 94 to 98 EGR delete, it comes with a butt connector that plugs on, like an end cap sort of thing that plugs onto the two sensors. Well, for some reason, they don't make anything like this. So we're fabbing up our own, pretty much. That's pretty much how it is. We're fabbing up our own butt connectors for those. And they're just going to be looped together in a circuit, so it tricks the computer and thinks that it's getting some sort of reading. And we also got this AFR gauge that we still need to install on the car. It actually plugs right up to the existing gauge's wiring harness. It's got the same exact connection on the end. Just there's a few differences in it. I got to figure it out, but that's another video coming. I mean, guys, I'm so sorry that uploads are spaced out and they take long. I have so much going on that it's hard to regularly push out updates, but I'm going to try my absolute best to make videos every week, if not bi-weekly at the latest, on updates on the car and more YouTube content, because I want to grow this channel. I mean, we're doing amazing. We're at 217, I think, right in there. I mean, we're doing great. Nowhere near where I want to be, but it's an amazing start, and I only see it going up from here. But enough of me rambling on, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this mini-series. As always, be sure to subscribe, like my videos, share this channel with friends, family, whoever. Help me grow NYA Cars into something amazing. And I've been throwing around the idea of making, obviously these are my first stickers I ever made, and I just kept them for myself and friends, whoever wanted them. But would people be interested in stickers? Maybe something where it's just like the NYA Cars and, you know, in a cool font and, you know, something like a cool design. Let me know. Let me know if you guys want stickers. I'd be down to sell them. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Stay safe. Have fun. I'll see you later.